Stay low. Still there. Car low. Clear high. Clear low. Clear high. All clear.
Hello, and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today I want to introduce you guys to NASCAR Heat Evolution. Now, I was given an awesome opportunity by the guys at DMR to get into this game and before launch and really get an experience of what they were trying to do with this game, because there's been so many different things and changes over the NASCAR franchise of games that I think they really wanted to take a new start. They wanted to take a fresh start with NASCAR Heat Evolution, and getting into the career mode as we're doing right here, you can really tell right off the bat that there's a lot of new stuff to look at. I mean, you saw in the kind of introduction that I did, there's a lot of detail here. There's a lot of detail in this game, and not just graphically, but the sounds are great, the communication is great, the voices are great, and it just gives off a really polished feel right from the get-go. So we're creating our character right here at the start of the career. You can see we can choose our manufacturer, we can choose our number, you can choose if you're a male or female character, you can choose your hairstyle, hair color, head shape, facial hairstyles. I mean, you got a lot of customization here, especially for a racing game. And because most racing games, especially most racing games kind of based around a real racing series, don't really give you that deep of a customization element as far as your character goes. It's either generally focused around the car, or you're either doing that or you're racing pre-prepped cars. So when you get into the career, basically you start out with a blank stock car of your choosing, and you need to finish in the top 30 twice to get enough attention to attract your first sponsor. Now, finishing in the top 30 twice might not actually sound like that big of a task, and technically speaking, it's not the biggest task, but if you have your difficulty turned up, it can actually be very, very challenging. Now, I'll go ahead and let you guys know right off the bat that I was playing on the normal physics settings with a controller. This game does play very, very, very well with a wheel, but I'm also going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a disclaimer for the fact that we had some severe, or I did anyway, I had some severe recording issues, and we actually had to, I had a first round of recording. We recorded, I think, just under a couple of hours of footage that we had to scrap because there was no gameplay audio whatsoever. And I was really bummed out about that, because a lot of that footage I wanted to use, but I went back in. The guys at DMR were awesome because they gave me the opportunity to go back in and record the game again, so I could actually have some footage for you guys, have some footage for them, because I really did not want to leave them empty-handed on footage, but I also didn't want to leave you guys empty-handed on footage either, because I posted out to you guys that I was going to capture this game, and you guys were really supportive of it. You guys were like, oh yeah, that's awesome, we want to see it, we want to see your take on it. And anyway, so with that out of the way, it plays very, very well with a wheel. The time that I got that I had to go back in was technically after, like, closing hours. But anyway, I could only use a controller on the footage that actually had sound, but rest assured this game does play amazingly well with a wheel. We actually qualified pretty well, pretty damn well actually, in that session for a car that hadn't been set up at all, which I was actually surprised. I thought I was going to qualify like 35th or something, because there were a lot of races where I qualified like, upper 30s, and sometimes qualified 40th, because NASCAR is not something that I have a lot of experience in, but it was really cool to get the opportunity to actually get some experience with it. Through this game. And they actually, while we were up there, they took us around the NASCAR Hall of Fame and really kind of showed us this really cool side of the sport that I had never seen. There's also a very cool vlog / kind of video tour coming later for you guys, where they actually took us to a actual NASCAR race shop for BK Racing, and that is going to be awesome, and I can't wait to show you guys that. Now, the game is running right at 60 frames, I do believe, and when you're going around the track, when you're blazing around the track, you can tell. I mean, it really feels like you can tell that the 60 frames does make a difference. The fact that the game runs at 60 frames and plays at 60 frames and is really, really smooth at 60 frames makes a difference when you're driving, and it makes a difference in the experience. It really does. It makes a massive difference in the experience, and it really does immerse you in the race. Now, you also want to make sure you're listening to your spotter, because if you're not listening to your spotter, you will get screwed. You should listen to him most of the time, but that doesn't mean that you should rely on him all the time either, because there have been some times where he'll say clear, and I'm like, I'm not quite clear yet. And he'll be like, clear, and I'm like, I don't know. So you always have to relate what he's saying to what's actually happening on the track. And that sometimes can create an interesting dynamic between you as a driver and the spotter, because the spotter is actually very dynamic. He will, as the race changes, he changes his recommendations and his advice for what you should do, not just based on where the opponents are proximity-wise, but based on your line and based on how you're actually taking each corner. And I will say that even though my experience with simulation racing is more along the lines of circuit racing and that kind of stuff, road courses, these ovals, the line is super deep, because you have multiple lines you can take. You always have multiple lines available to you on an oval that's this big, because you have, number one, you have so many cars on the track, and number two, you have so many different, like, you can go low, you can go high, you can go mid, you could even dip. If you're really, really ballsy, you could dip down onto the apron of the track if you really want to, but I will warn you that on simulation, that can cause an instant spin or a wreck, or you better hope you have cautions turned off, because if you don't have cautions turned off, that race is not going to go in your favor as far as if you hit the apron incorrectly. Now, if you save the car, obviously it's a huge feeling, like you feel great. If you save the car, you feel awesome, especially after you go completely sideways, because these don't feel like this is not like driving a spec Miata, let's say that. It's a very different animal, it's a very different beast, and if you do start to spin, you will see the active arrow come up and start to do its job, and it's a really cool, actually, there's footage coming later, not in this video, but later on in this series, there's footage of crashing, and there's actually one that I actually initiated on purpose that you guys will get to see later on. Again, not in this video, but in a later episode. So after you finish your first race, you get in the top 30, gives you some attention, and then after that, you're going to move on to your second race, where once you get that done, you'll see your first sponsor come into play. And again, the career mode is all about qualifying higher, getting more sponsors, finishing higher ultimately, and again, ultimately over time, progressing in your career. Now, I chose to go with Toyota because I actually think that the new Camry stock cars look really, really badass. The way that they've actually been designed, it just makes them one of the most aggressive looking cars on the track. They really do. And the funny thing is, I actually got to see one of them next to a factory standard Camry, and the thing is, there's very little that's retained. I mean, there's about, if I had to say, it was probably, I don't know, maybe the design of the emblem and a general idea of the bumper design. I mean, that's about where the similarities stop, because once you dig into these cars, they are actually they're a lot more technologically advanced than you might think, especially now today, and the engines are incredible. The thing is, though, these guys will run one engine for a full race, and then it goes back to your engine builder to get completely torn down, completely redone, and, well, I say completely redone. It gets torn down, and I think it gets piston rings and gaskets, and that's probably pretty much the engine gets refreshed. And I think what did we qualify last? I think we qualified last. I didn't actually see. I think we qualified last on that one. But yeah, we did, because we're way in the back. But the thing is, when you start at the back, there's no better sensation than starting way at the back of the race, and even making up half the grid is just this crazy feeling. Another thing that I'm sure people are going to be interested in knowing is I did play this on both console and PC. I actually got a chance to play it on pretty much every system that it will be released on. Now, I will say that if you're on a console, don't think that you're missing out, because the console version is very good. The console version is very, very good. But if you have access to a powerful PC, I highly recommend the PC version, just because of its sheer smoothness and how smoothly it runs and how smoothly it plays. Now, like I said, if all you have is a console, then that's 100% fine. The console versions are awesome. The console versions play great, but the PC version, there's definitely, you can tell there's just a little bit more, to me, there's a little bit more there that I feel like it just kind of accents the game, just that little bit of an edge. So there's definitely, like I said, great options either way on both console and PC, but I personally prefer the PC version. It's super, super fun, and the performance of the game is just really, really nice, really crisp, really clean, and really smooth. And the other thing is, too, the tracks look so good. The tracks look amazing. They actually went to every single track in the game to document the surface, to take pictures of the surfaces, and to make sure that every single surface of each track in the game is representative of that actual surface in real life. They went to all of these different tracks and did a ton of research. I can't even imagine how many pictures they had to have come back with of just that surface, that tarmac. And so there's a lot of development work and a lot of just pre-planning that went into this game, because they really do want to bring this game out to a new level. They really want to bring this game up to a new standard for NASCAR games and for the games in this franchise. So I really, really do think that they've got a great game on their hands, and I will definitely be playing it at launch when it comes out on September 13th. And I am, like I said, extremely pumped to show you guys more of the game. I tried to get as much when I went back in to record again as possible. What you're seeing right now, again, like I said, is the beginning of the career mode. I've also got some challenges that I'm going to show you guys in later episodes, and some quick races where we race as a specific kind of a specific driver. I also have some crash footage that I'm going to show you guys. So I tried to cover everything that I was able to cover before, except for I don't have any live commentary, sadly, because all of that audio is gone, kaput. Done. So again, technical failure. I really do apologize for that. I don't know we don't still really know what happened. We just know that we had a major technical failure on the recording side, not the game side at all. Just the recording side had an issue, that which is why I went back to get more footage. So anyway, we can see people coming back out of pit road. We can see like I said, even the crowds look great going by at 170 miles an hour. Really, they do, and that to me says a lot. The fact that they put enough effort into it that you look over at the crowd and it actually looks like you're flying past a crowd. You look at the infield, it looks like you're flying past a infield in detail at 170 miles an hour. And there's also a really, really gorgeous interior cam, cockpit cam, that I can't wait to show you guys. And they have every view. They have this third-person view, they have a hood cam, they have a bumper cam, they have an interior cam. They have really any kind of camera, any kind of view that really any kind of sim racer is going to want to use. But really and truly, and I'm going to close this episode out with by saying this is not a game that's just for your racing simulator guys. This is a game that you can set on normal if you want and jump right into it and be fine. This is also a game that you can jump right into if you're a hardcore simulator guy, turn everything up to simulation and have a very difficult game on your hands. But I hope you guys did enjoy this first look in this first episode at NASCAR Heat Evolution. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later, and hope you guys enjoyed.